Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Lift with Sheila Robinson-Kiss, your Auntie Sheila. You know that this is the channel. We've got it all. Mental health, movement, motivation, and the best relationship advice around. Don't be greedy with the news of the channel. Share it with your friends and family. We're growing every day. I want to jump right in with this very critical message. Please don't go on another date or move forward in a relationship until you listen to this. This is all about what you need to do to stay safe, grounded, and focused in healthy relationships. Relationships, they are beautiful and fun, and they can also make us crazy. And every week I receive letters from people. They're asking me for help because they've been gaslit, ghosted, neglected, wounded, or simply perplexed in a relationship. And I do, trust me, I do have all the compassion in the world for you. Managing the emotions of a relationship is not easy. And I created this message to be a simple guide for anyone dating, or if you are in a long-term ongoing relationship. It's a critical message too. Inside this message, I'm going to assign and ask you to create 3 must-have relationship lists. And I will explain the steps in resetting your relationship after that, because there comes a time for many relationships where you just have to completely reset it. I want to warn you, this message is not for the faint of heart. I'm going to give it to you straight, as I always do. Sometimes I make these messages and the medicine goes down hard. Sometimes it goes down easier, but what I can tell you is this: the advice will make a difference for you and will save you time and a lot of stress. And many of you listening to the sound of my voice, you will even find better sleep after you listen to this message. I wish with all my heart that someone would have sat me down and shared information like this years ago. My life would have been a lot more peaceful, and I would have avoided just a lot of shenanigans. Let's leave it there. Whenever we have a relationship with someone, there are 2 relationships going on all at once. And it's from the spiritual perspective, yet it's reality based too. It's the relationship you're having with the person and the relationship that you're having with yourself as a result of being connected to that person. In other words, this is how I experience myself when I'm with him or her. She brings out the best in me, or he brings out all of my insecurities. I think everyone listening can relate to that. Every single person we meet, we get to experience a nuanced version of ourselves. And when we fall in love with someone, we're also falling in love with ourselves, the way we feel inside of the connection. And each person you meet will also enable you to meet an aspect of yourself. This is what fascinates me about relationships. I mean, I know you've seen it. Someone is one way with this person, a different way with this person. It's chemical, it's environmental, it's mental. It's so much that goes into this mix. If you don't maintain some level of awareness while you are dating or in relationship, it really could work out just fine. I've seen it. Or you could absolutely lose yourself. I've seen that too. I have lived both scenarios. In a few relationships, you all know that when I talk to you, I'm always going to be transparent. I just do not see the point in sharing this work if you're just going to, hide things or just share the things that make you look good. I have let myself go in some relationships and things worked out fine. And in more than a few relationships, I let myself go. And quite frankly, I don't know how else to say this, but my ass was handed to me on a platter. And if you've ever had your behind handed to you on a platter, it is not a pretty sensation. But I'll tell you, I learned from it. And that's why I do this work. Although the learning is ongoing, it's crystallized at this point in my life, and it's solid enough that I stand on a very solid foundation as I'm sharing with you. And I may or may not know you, but as far as I'm concerned, we're all connected in spirit. I want you well and healthy in your relationships. And these assignments will help. They will help, and they are here for you. Let's get into this. See, this message is very specific. You can get out a pen and a piece of paper. You can listen to it over and over again. But if you do this, it's going to up-level every aspect of your relationship. Or if you're looking for a relationship, it's going to up-level that process. There are 3 lists I'm asking you to create. Number 1, a relationship bill of rights and standards list. That's first, bill of rights and standards. Number 2, a relationship safety list. I love the concept of relationship safety list. A very wise woman, I'll just share her first name, Christy. This was someone who went through one of my courses, and as soon as she said safety list, I said, oh my God, I'm going to augment my listings with that. And so I've done it here. It's a beautiful concept. I'll get into it in a second. And then a relationship flag list. That's critical. Red flags and green flags. These are designed to be living, breathing lists. They change. You'll be in and out of these lists all the time. They're lists of protection, and they just won't let you down. Where your eyes may be blinded by emotion, the list will support you with clarity. Where you may be confused from time to time, the list support confidence and high self-esteem. I have fallen in love with my list. And I want to share examples of how this goes. I'm going to right now give you some tidbits, excerpts from the list I've created over time, and you can borrow some of this, or you can just create your own, however you want to do it. Number 1 is the relationship standards list. If you don't know what your standards are, anyone can show up in your life and anything goes. I love this list because it ensures you stay accountable for your actions and remain aware of the actions of others at all times. And the standards list is a list of what is acceptable and not acceptable for you in relationships. And let me share a portion of my standards list. A, I have a right to be fair in my dealings and expect fair and reciprocal treatment in my relationships. Energy coming in should match energy going out so that I remain energized and not drained. B, I have a right to ask questions, seek clarification, and communicate openly. C, I like, love, and deeply respect myself and my sojourn. I have a right to be treated kindly. When this is not the case, I promise myself, mind, body, heart, spirit, soul, to remove myself from the situation. I have a right to change my mind and walk away when new information comes to light. When I'm feeling disrespected, when there's imbalance that cannot be overcome, or when my best judgment advises me to do so. E, I have a right to be selective and honor my preferences and engage with emotionally, financially, mentally, physically, and spiritually balanced individuals. I have a right to express myself creatively and respectfully. I have a right at all times to be myself. G, I am a human being and I will make mistakes. I have a right to adjust my course and move on. I have a right to say yes and a right to say no and have both rights respected. I have a right to request adjustments in words, actions, and behaviors that I find troubling. Those in my life have the same right. See, everything I just read you on my Bill of Rights and standards, I afford everyone the same rights. That's the nuance here. Keeps all the playing field very level. Okay, the second list I was describing to you is the safety list. The safety list consists of all the things you need to feel safe and move forward in relationships. And thank you, Christy, for this gorgeous contribution. A, consistency. You do what you say you're going to do. That is on my safety list. What are you going to add on your safety list? B, truthful. Speaking the truth and words matching behavior. Those are things that make me feel safe. C, energy. You are showing an active interest in me, my life and well-being. That makes me feel safe. D, you're supportive. You're a source of support and encouragement, not negativity. I need a sense that you have my back. That makes me feel safe. Warmth. You are kind and warm. That makes me feel safe. Clear communication. You express yourself and communicate clearly. That makes me feel safe, like I don't have to guess. G, fun and happy. You are happy and joyful. That makes me feel safe. So, the safety list is essential because you could be feeling things like, damn, I feel unsafe. Why do I feel unsafe? Go to your safety list. And that's how it supports you. Like, oh, you're not consistent. You're not truthful. You don't have good energy. You've not been supportive. You've not been warm. You're not a clear communicator, fun and happy. Oh my goodness. No wonder why I don't feel safe. Because you're the contrary to everything on my safety list. You see how these lists come and support you? And next is the flags list. I break my flags list into red flags that are deal breakers and the green flags, which means go, this is feeling good for me. You need to keep a journal ongoing. If you're dating or in relationships, you need to be checking in with your list at all times. My red flags list, these are, I just have to back up. I've got to back up when these flags. So A, selfish. B, lying. C, huge gaps in communication. If it's a relationship, you're communicating. Inconsistently. It might be not all the time, but it's a consistency to it. D, uncommunicative. That goes with gaps of communication. E, ungrateful. F, cheap. That's a red flag for me, a cheap person. G, uninterested in my life and career. That's just such a turnoff for me. What about you? What are your red flags? And by the way, your red flags will be different from someone else's red flags. Green flags, sweet, surprises me, gives compliments, generous, consistent. Those, F, positive attitude. G, a calm spirit. Those are things you have to know what your red flags and what your green flags are. I mean, it's going to be different and it's personalized for everyone. If you're new to the list, I would just say spend some time thinking about this. And I said F and G, positive attitude and calm spirit. Those are super important to me. So now I want to talk about how to reset a relationship. I need to just be straightforward here because a lot of times people will need to reset. They lollygag, they don't do it, and there's many reasons it needs to be done. And let's just get into this. How to reset a relationship. Resetting a relationship, this can become necessary when you don't want to leave per se, but something has to change. And before you reset a relationship, know that this is the part where I said the medicine is going to go down hard. Before you reset a relationship, please be aware that in the resetting, you may lose the relationship. It could become a better relationship when you reset it, or it may become the best relationship you've ever had. It depends a lot on some different factors. One being, has your partner become dependent on the relationship dynamic remaining as they are in order to stay. Secondly, what the relationship is based on, what is the foundation? And third, what knowns or unknown factors are happening in the backdrop of your partner's life that you may not know about. So these are the ugly realities. You do well to face them. I know it's hard, but I think sometimes we have to deal with hard and we have to cry. We could eat a little extra chocolate. It's often better than staying in toxic. Okay. I've reset a few relationships. Full transparency. One blew up in my face. And you know what? Spiritually, it was such a sad, it was just an imbalanced situation. And it needed to blow up. And it hurt me then, but after the dust settled, I'm like, thank you, God, for removing that, because it was just hard for me and it needed to blow. And then the other two that I reset went on to be very sweet, fun, and healthy. And it was worth the effort to make the change. So how you reset the relationship depends on your objective. Sometimes you will reset it by pulling back. Other times you'll reset it by stepping up your energy. And there are also times a reset requires you to open your mouth and communicate. Then on the other hand, there will be occasions when you really need to stop talking as much as possible. And wisdom combined with experience, combined with prayer in the hand of God, will let you know which one you need to do. I think, at least my experience, the most difficult part of resetting a relationship is fighting with the momentum of the habits. It's our behavior becomes habituated. And when you're doing different things, like the old patterns can pull you back in. And for me, I needed to reset a relationship where the energy was just not reciprocal, more full transparency. It's a situation I had let myself go. I knew consciously I was letting myself go. I was just so excited. You have no idea. I overgave, I overtalked, I overtexted. And when the dust settled, I really saw clearly what was happening. I was exhausted, and in a way, not to be harsh on myself, I'm just, keeping everything real. I felt a little bit like a circus clown. I was trying to get this person's attention. I had become resentful, and, you reach a point where you're in enough relation with yourself. I just knew I needed to stop. It's like you need to stop. And I wrote myself a letter. I recommend you do this too before you reset. I wrote myself a letter addressing my observations about the relationship and myself. I was kind to myself in the letter, but direct, and I held myself accountable. I knew I had to pull back and stop reaching out. The reason I didn't do it sooner, and again, I have to stay on the righteous path with all of you, I was afraid that if I stopped jumping through the hoops, he would stop communicating, stop the relationship, stop reaching out. I was right. In a way. I knew I was the driving force behind. It was like, you're in a carriage and you have to keep maneuvering the horse to keep moving. And it's just exhausting when it's so one-sided. And I was right in a way, let's say that. And when I stopped reaching out, I had to swallow it was hurtful. It was hurtful. I didn't hear from him for a while, long while. And I that was a period where I'm like, okay, wow. I have to tell you about that period, because when you reset, there's always a period in there of, I don't know if uncertainty is the right word, but you're doing things differently. Things could get quiet. Like I told you, don't reset it. Don't start out to reset it unless you understand you could lose it. It could get better, but you could lose it too. So that was a period that I just remember having to be a really good present friend with myself. I was a very strong, loving support for myself, because I'm like, this one is gonna rock you a little bit. But I just stayed with myself. Lots of good words, good food, walks, adult self-soothing. I got through it. And then one day I did hear from him, and the relationship was reset. I waited a little bit before I responded, just for my own sake, dignity. And it was nice. It had reset. After that, I stopped doing backflips, twirls, giving as much as I was. I pulled back, and it was just a calmer, it was just a better connection. That was a happy story. But like I said, there was one that just totally blew to hell. And when that happens, you have to have the discipline and enough self-love to say, if this is the result, it was supposed to blow to hell. I'm doing something righteous, something that respects boundaries, and that's it. So back to the successful reset. It was nice to hear from him, but I'll stress, I was also ready to let go if the reset was not successful. I just had given this individual too much concentrated energy. And I'll say again, if you're going to reset a relationship, you have to set out and be serious about it, because what I've seen people do over and over again, and it's sad. You end up in this back and forth, on again, off again. People don't respect you. You're playing games. You're trying to set boundaries, but you violate the boundaries. I think if you're going to reset, it has to be that you sit and really have a come to Jesus talk with yourself, and you really say what you mean, and you mean what you say. On the difficult days of a reset period, I invite you to just tell yourself, this is what I told myself: I choose to walk the path of wisdom. Over and over again, I just kept saying, I choose to walk the path of wisdom. I choose to walk the path of wisdom, because I've seen what happens on the stupid path. And the stupid path is a painful path. The path of wisdom, it can be difficult, but at the end of it, it's refreshing. And during it, it's refreshing if you can, create the discipline. This is the right thing to do. And I know it in my soul. I kept saying, this is the right thing to do. I know it in my soul. And always, it's about honoring your lessons, the sojourn of your lessons. I hope that this message makes a difference for everyone who's listening. We need standards. We need to know what our standards are. We need boundaries. We need to know what our boundaries are. We need to know what the red flags are, what the green flags are. Because if you don't have that, like if you don't know your bottom, God help you if someone else has a different idea for you. They will take you into the bowels of hell. If you don't know what is good for you, what is right for you, you could miss opportunities that way too. So this is about keeping it real. Let's tell the truth, honor the truth, and live it out in every way. Relationships are wonderful, but we need to know who we are, and things need to be respectful. Again, I hope that this has made a difference for you. Don't forget to share the news of the channel with your friends and family. If you like this piece, share it with someone, and make sure that you subscribe. Bye-bye.